Grandma Eleanor passed away on a Tuesday morning, peacefully in her sleep at 93 years old. The funeral was on Friday, and that's when I learned my family had been planning my financial future without consulting me. I'm Diana, 32, a high school history teacher who'd spent every Sunday afternoon with Grandma for the past 15 years. We'd drink tea, play cards, and talk about everything: history, politics, life lessons, and the importance of making your own choices. My sister Vanessa, 35, had visited Grandma maybe twice a year, always with some crisis, always needing money, always leaving with a check that Grandma wrote with a sad smile after she left. At the wake, I overheard Mom talking to Aunt Patricia in the hallway. Well, at least Vanessa will finally be set. Eleanor's estate should be enough to pay off her debts and get her back on track. I paused, holding my coffee cup. What? How much do you think it is? Aunt Patricia asked. The house alone is worth at least $800,000. Plus her savings, investments, the antiques. Probably close to $1.2 million total. It'll change Vanessa's life. What about Diana? Mom waved her hand dismissively. Diana's fine. She has a stable job, savings. She doesn't need it like Vanessa does. Eleanor understood that. Family takes care of those who need it most. I walked away before they could see me, my hands trembling. They were already dividing up Grandma's estate. Already deciding who deserved what. Already assuming Grandma had left everything to Vanessa because she was the one constantly in crisis. What they didn't know, what no one except Grandma's attorney and I knew, was that 3 years ago, Grandma had called me to her lawyer's office. Diana, she'd said, holding my hand across the mahogany desk, I'm setting up a private trust. Everything I have, the house, the investments, the savings, it's all going to you. Grandma, I can't. You can and you will. I've watched your sister for 35 years waste every opportunity, every dollar, every chance she's been given. I've watched your parents enable her, bail her out, and expect you to just accept less because you're more capable. I'm done with it. You've earned this, Diana. By being present. By caring about me, not just my bank account. By building a relationship, not a transaction. What about Mom and Dad? Vanessa, your parents will get my personal items, some jewelry, things with sentimental value. Vanessa will get $25,000. Enough to help, not enough to waste. But the house, the real assets, those are yours. In an irrevocable trust. They can't contest it, they can't challenge it, and most importantly, they can't guilt you into giving it away. The trust had been signed, notarized, and filed. Grandma's attorney, Mr. Harrison, had the only copies. My family had no idea. After the funeral, Mom gathered everyone at Grandma's house. Vanessa was already measuring windows for new curtains. We should talk about the estate, Dad said, sitting in Grandma's favorite chair. Eleanor's should be read next week. I've already spoken to a real estate agent, Vanessa said excitedly. The house could sell for $850,000 if we update the kitchen first. I was thinking I could live here while we renovate, really maximize the value. Vanessa, I said quietly, you should probably wait for the will reading before making plans. Why? Grandma left everything to me. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. How? Mom stepped in. Diana, don't make this difficult. Your grandmother understood that Vanessa needed this inheritance more than you do. Did Grandma tell you that? Well, no, but then maybe we should wait for the actual will reading before deciding who gets what. The following Tuesday, we all gathered at Mr. Harrison's office. Vanessa had dressed up, wearing expensive new clothes she'd clearly bought on credit, already spending money she assumed was coming. Mom and Dad sat beside her, looking like proud parents at a graduation. I sat across from them, quiet and composed. Mr. Harrison entered with a thick folder. Thank you all for coming. Before we begin, I want to clarify something. Eleanor Montgomery was very specific about her wishes, and she ensured her estate plan was legally airtight. What I'm about to read is final and non-contestable. Vanessa smiled. Mom squeezed her hand encouragingly. To my daughter Margaret and son-in-law Robert, Mr. Harrison read, I leave my personal jewelry collection, excluding my grandmother's diamond ring, my photo albums, and my collection of first edition books. I also leave you the contents of my hope chest, which holds items from your childhoods. Mom nodded, looking pleased. That was nice, but clearly the big stuff was coming. To my granddaughter Vanessa, I leave the sum of $25,000 to be distributed in a lump sum upon settling of the estate. Vanessa's smile froze. Wait, what? 25,000? What about the house? The investments? Mr. Harrison continued reading as if she hadn't spoken. To my beloved granddaughter Diana, I leave the remainder of my estate, including but not limited to my primary residence at 847 Oak Street, my investment portfolio currently valued at approximately $400,000, my savings accounts totaling $180,000, my vehicle, and all remaining personal property not specifically bequeathed to others. The room erupted. That can't be right. Vanessa stood up, her chair scraping loudly. Grandma wouldn't do that. She knew I needed that money. There must be a mistake, Mom said, her voice shaking. Mother would never. Diana doesn't need all that. There's no mistake, Mr. Harrison said calmly. Eleanor was very clear about her intentions. In fact, she recorded a video message explaining her decisions. Would you like to see it? Yes, Vanessa demanded. Mr. Harrison set up a laptop, and suddenly Grandma's face filled the screen. She looked directly at the camera, her expression kind but firm. If you're watching this, I've passed on, and you've just heard my will. I imagine some of you are upset, particularly Vanessa. So let me explain. Vanessa, I love you, but I've spent 35 years watching you make poor choices and expect everyone else to fix them. I've given you money for emergencies that were really just consequences of your decisions. I've watched you take advantage of your parents' love, your sister's kindness, and my own soft heart. The $25,000 I'm leaving you is enough to pay off your current debts and give you a fresh start. What you do with that fresh start is up to you. But I won't enable your irresponsibility from beyond the grave. Diana, my darling girl, you've been my companion, my friend, my weekly tea partner for 15 years. You came because you loved me, not because you wanted something from me. You've built a stable, responsible life. You've earned this inheritance through consistency, love, and presence. Margaret and Robert, you've always favored Vanessa because she needed more help. But in doing so, you've taught her that irresponsibility is rewarded and taught Diana that responsibility is punished. I'm correcting that imbalance now. This estate goes to Diana. It's in an irrevocable trust. You cannot contest it, you cannot change it, and Diana, you cannot be guilted into giving it away. This is my final wish, and it's legally binding. I love you all, but love sometimes means letting people face their own consequences. Goodbye. The screen went dark. Vanessa turned to me with pure hatred in her eyes. You knew this whole time, and you didn't tell us. Grandma asked me not to. So you just let me make plans? Let me think I was getting the house. You let me look like an idiot. You made plans without knowing what was actually in the will. That's on you. Mom stood up, her face flushed with anger. How could you do this to your sister? You know she needs that money. I didn't do anything. Grandma made her own decisions about her own assets. You influenced her. You manipulated an old woman. I visited her every Sunday for 15 years. I talked to her, listened to her, cared about her. That's not manipulation, Mom. That's a relationship. Your sister is drowning in debt. Dad's voice was rising. She needs this money to survive. You're a teacher with a stable income. You don't need it. Whether I need it or not is irrelevant. It's what Grandma wanted. It's what she chose to do with her money. Vanessa was crying now, but they weren't sad tears. They were angry, entitled tears. I've already told people I was inheriting. I've made commitments based on this money. Then you shouldn't have counted on money that wasn't yours yet. We're family. Mom's voice cracked. You're supposed to share with family. Grandma was family too. And this is what she wanted. Am I supposed to disrespect her final wishes because Vanessa spent money she didn't have yet? Mr. Harrison cleared his throat. If I may, the trust is structured so that Diana has complete control. She can choose to give Vanessa additional funds if she wishes, but she's under no legal obligation to do so. All three of them turned to me with sudden hope. Diana, please, Vanessa said, switching tactics to pleading. I know we haven't been close, but I'm your sister. I'm begging you. I need at least $200,000 to pay off my debts and get stable. Please. $200,000? You have $300,000 in debt. She looked down. It's not all debt. Some of it is for investments, opportunities. Investments in what? Your lifestyle. That's not fair. You don't know what it's like to struggle. I worked 3 jobs in college, Vanessa. I lived on ramen and slept 4 hours a night. I know exactly what it's like to struggle. The difference is I made different choices. So you're going to keep it all? Watch me lose everything while you sit in Grandma's house counting your money. I'm going to respect Grandma's wishes. She left you $25,000 for a reason. Use it wisely. This isn't over, Mom said coldly. We'll contest the will. We'll challenge the trust. You can try, Mr. Harrison said. But I assure you, Eleanor made this trust ironclad specifically to prevent that. You'll spend thousands on lawyers and lose. Then we'll never speak to you again, Vanessa spat. You'll be dead to this family. I looked at my sister, my parents, their faces twisted with anger and entitlement, and I realized Grandma had given me more than money. She'd given me freedom from this exact dynamic. I can live with that, I said quietly. If being part of this family means funding Vanessa's irresponsibility forever, then maybe I'm better off out of it. I walked out of that office and didn't look back. The next 2 months were relentless. It started with phone calls, dozens a day from Mom, Dad, and Vanessa. When I stopped answering, they switched to texts. When I blocked them, they started showing up at my apartment, at my school, at the grocery store. Just $100,000, Vanessa would plead. That's barely a dent in what you got. I'll pay you back, I swear. Your grandmother would be ashamed of you, Mom would say. Hoarding money while your sister suffers. The family mobilized against me. Cousins I barely knew called to tell me I was selfish. Aunts and uncles sent long emails about family loyalty. My social media filled with vague posts about people who forget where they came from. Vanessa started a GoFundMe called Help Me Survive My Sister's Greed. It included a photo of Grandma and a long story about how I'd stolen her inheritance through manipulation. The comments were brutal. What kind of person does this to family? Greed is disgusting. That grandmother is probably rolling in her grave. I wanted to respond, to defend myself, to explain. But Mr. Harrison had advised against it. Let them talk. Don't engage. The trust is solid. They can't touch it. Then the lawyers got involved. Vanessa hired an attorney who sent threatening letters claiming undue influence and mental incompetence. They demanded financial records, medical records, any evidence that Grandma wasn't in her right mind when she created the trust. Mr. Harrison shut it down with a single response, including Grandma's medical records from her doctor showing perfect cognitive function, the video testimony, and affidavits from 3 other attorneys who'd witnessed her sound mind during the trust creation. Vanessa's lawyer dropped the case. That's when things got worse. I started getting calls from creditors. Somehow, Vanessa had given them my number, claiming I'd agreed to help with her debts. I had to threaten legal action to make them stop. She showed up at my school one day, causing a scene in the parking lot. My sister is a thief. She stole my inheritance. Security had to escort her off campus. My principal called me in. Diana, I don't want to pry into your personal life, but is there something I should know about? I explained the situation briefly. He was sympathetic but concerned. If this continues to disrupt school operations, we'll need to address it. That night, I sat in my apartment, not Grandma's house, which I hadn't moved into yet, and felt the weight of everything. Was this worth it? Was the inheritance worth being estranged from my entire family? Then I remembered Grandma's face in that video. Her firm but loving voice. You've earned this through consistency, love, and presence. I called Mr. Harrison. I want to move forward with transferring ownership of the house to my name and liquidating some of the investments. I'm ready to take full control of the trust. Are you sure? Once you do this, there's no going back. Your family will know you're serious about keeping it. I'm sure. Grandma wanted me to have this. I'm not going to let their guilt trips make me give away what she worked so hard to protect for me. Good for you, Diana. Eleanor would be proud. 2 weeks later, I moved into Grandma's house. My house. I changed the locks, updated the security system, and put my parents and Vanessa on a permanent no trespassing list with local police. I was done apologizing for receiving a gift I'd earned through years of genuine love and presence. 6 months after Grandma's death, I was settled into the house. I'd kept most of her furniture, updated a few things, and turned her sewing room into my home office. Every morning, I had tea in her favorite chair and felt her presence. The harassment had mostly stopped. Vanessa's $25,000 had been distributed, and according to mutual friends, she'd blown through it in 3 months. New car, expensive vacation, designer clothes. She was back in debt, and back to blaming everyone but herself. Mom and Dad had stopped calling after I'd sent a formal cease and desist letter. The family had essentially divided into 2 camps. those who thought I was a greedy monster, and those who quietly admitted I'd done nothing wrong. I was okay with that division. Then, one Sunday afternoon, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find Dad standing there, alone, looking older than I remembered. "Can I come in?" I hesitated, then stepped aside. He walked through the house slowly, looking at Grandma's things, at the changes I'd made, at the photos I'd hung. "You've taken good care of the place. It's my home now." "I know." He sat on the couch, and I sat across from him. "Your mother doesn't know I'm here." "Why are you here?" "To apologize. For all of it. For assuming you'd just give Vanessa money. For enabling her instead of helping her. For treating you like you were less important because you were more capable." I didn't know what to say. I've been thinking a lot about what Mom, Eleanor, said in that video. About how we taught Vanessa that irresponsibility is rewarded and taught you that responsibility is punished. She was right. Yeah, she was. Vanessa is 40 years old and has nothing to show for it because we've always been there to catch her. You're 32 and have built a stable life because you had to. We failed both of you in different ways. I appreciate you saying that, Dad. Vanessa went through the $25,000 in 3 months. Did you know that? I heard. She came to us asking for more, expecting us to mortgage our house to bail her out again. For the first time in her life, I said no. I looked up, surprised. Your mother and I have been in counseling, talking about our parenting, our enabling, our patterns. It's been hard. Your mother is still angry at you, still thinks you should share. But I'm starting to see that Eleanor was right. Giving Vanessa more money wouldn't help her. It would just delay the inevitable. What's she going to do? Figure it out. For the first time in her life, she's going to have to figure it out without a safety net. She got a full-time job. She's in a cheaper apartment. She's learning to budget. It's painful to watch, but it's necessary. We sat in silence for a moment. "I don't expect you to forgive us," Dad said finally, "or to have a relationship with Vanessa. I just wanted you to know that I understand now why Eleanor did what she did. And I'm sorry it took losing her, and almost losing you, to figure it out." After he left, I sat in Grandma's chair and looked around at my home. The inheritance wasn't just money or property. It was validation. It was Grandma saying, "You matter. Your choices matter. Your consistency and love matter." A year later, I was having tea in the garden when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. "Diana, it's Vanessa." I tensed. "What do you want?" "Nothing. I don't want anything. I wanted to tell you something." "I'm listening." "I got promoted at work. It's not much, just supervisor instead of associate, but it's the first time I've ever been promoted anywhere. And I realized it happened because I actually showed up, worked hard, and didn't quit when it got difficult." "That's good, Vanessa." I also wanted to say, "I'm sorry. For everything. For the harassment, the GoFundMe, the scene at your school. For expecting you to fund my life. For being angry that Grandma saw something in you that she couldn't see in me. Grandma loved you, Vanessa. I know. But she loved me enough to stop enabling me. And I hated her for that. Hated you for that. But I'm starting to understand that the $25,000 was more valuable than $1 million would have been. Why? Because I had to make it count. I had to learn to make better choices because there was no backup. I'm not good at it yet, but I'm trying. Really trying. I'm glad, Vanessa. Can we maybe have coffee sometime? Not to talk about money or inheritance. Just to talk. As sisters. I looked around at Grandma's house, my house, and felt her presence. I knew what she'd want me to say. Yeah, we can do that. We'd never be close like we were as children. Too much had happened. Too much trust had been broken. But maybe we could build something new. Something based on mutual respect instead of enabling and resentment. Grandma's inheritance had given me financial security. But more than that, it had given me the freedom to set boundaries, the validation to trust my choices, and the strength to stand firm when everyone else said I was wrong. The money was in my account. The house was in my name. And my life was finally truly mine.